So, hindi ako. You bitch. So to start off this vid, we'll be showcasing Mr. Jacob Mangomok's Granblue 7Cs deck courtesy of Gabe's Pool. So here, he's one of our locals here, using a various number of decks. So yeah.
Special prize to those who can say his last name 3
let's
times.
start off with the Forerunner. Here the Forerunner, I run Peter the Ghosty because you can actually use him in early game. Early mill, early draw, which is pretty good for the hand. Let's put that shit there.
Oh, you say shit on YouTube.
Oh my god, so much shit. Let's start off with then we're moving on to the grade ones. Here we have the basic parts, the PGG unflippers, because I run them because they're basically unflippers. The whole deck is really counterblast heavy. Next up is a set of Stripe Fathers. Because I kinda use an odd number of grade 3s on him. Next up is 3 Night Crows. 3. That's 3 Night Crows. Look at that. I only run 3 because I believe that there are only 3 lanes for 3 Night Crows. I couldn't use an extra one if I wanted to. I'll put that right there. Lastly, for the grade 1 lineup, there's Dancing Cutlass. Since I rely on Dancing Cutlass for the Soul Blast and the draw, pretty good for the hand too. You know, like look at that sword. Going on to, let's move on to the grade 2s. Here we have Slash Shade, 7C Slash Shade. I run a set of him for early and late game attacks. Basically, he does, when your Vanguard attacks and his 7Cs retire a unit, call him to R, he gets +2, so it's an 11k beater right there. You know that? Yeah. Moving on, the G unit Neg Group, 16k beater right there. No CBs needed, so he's pretty good for late game pushes when you don't have any counterblast. Next up is a pair of Cannoneers for retire and draw. Look at that, Cannoneers. Pew pew pew. Kablong. For retire and draw, it's pretty good for killing off the back rows. In particular, Forerunners, you don't like those. Here we have Race Ruler, the 8k 7Cs. 7Cs is actually new to the deck because I run only 2 of them because it's actually 8k. It's pretty bad when you ride him. You get rushed pretty easily by a bunch of grade 1s. Vanilas. And lastly, for my grade 2, I run a Columbard. He's a pretty good deck since it depends on the situation, whether you have counterblast or not. Let's move on to the grade 3s. Here I have a set of Night Mist. They're Night Mist because I prioritize on riding the Break Ride. He's pretty good for late game. He's pretty good. Break Ride calls 2 people +5. Basically, when you call on Negro Rook, you get a 21k lane. Moving on, I got 3 Plegatons in the deck. Usually, I use the Break Ride with him so that I'll be able to call up to 3 people. And that's basically his use. And you can actually ride him from the drop zone too, paying the cost, counterblast 2. And my friend here is humping my leg. Oh. Yes, close. Moving on to grade 0s. Here we have the basic build of a set of heal, 2 different art because 2 different base. Two sets of crits. Two sets of crits. Right there. Look at that. Man, she's my draw and actually the engine for Cutlass right there. Look at that Cutlass. And then another set of crits because you know crits.
Dead girls.
Yeah, dead girls. Here we have the thing that actually makes the Granblue lanes OP.
Colombard Basda is not funny. I mean Colombard, nag-rook.
Yeah.
Nag-rook Mikle, I mean nag-rook boosted by Mik. Via its skill, that's nasty.
Yeah,
So nasty.
plus the break ride, so you get a 31k lane. Plus you can actually use Night Crew.
Nightcrow.
Nitro's ability to just kill him off and put him back to the deck. It's pretty nice. And I checked in one Grenache for the unflip because you know so much counter blast.
Ayaw isang Colombard ka lang.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I only run one Colombard because circumstances.
Circumcisions.
MVP! Because it's Peter!
Hindi, parang basic na rin lang.
Basically, that's all we have for the deck. Now we're going to the strides.
Profile without making deck profile. So, we're reading the files.
Profile of this guy making deck profile. This guy is profiling the guy making
Na,
deck profile.
apparently people are videoing I don't know.
They're making a profile about deck profiles.
Someone's doing a casting couch behind us.
Because yeah, if you want details for the casting couch, you can just contact us for details
So this is a
or
deck
a
profile
video.
with a
So
deck
moving
profile.
on to his strides.
We're moving on to the strides. Here we have
Try to
a set of Deep Corpse Dragon. He's pretty good for milling your deck if ever you have a crappy drop zone. You know?
I don't know what to do. Like,
There's a fake taxi, there's a fake card shop.
Up next is like I run a pair of Obadiah. And this is pretty nice since you get to trim your deck and actually fix your drop zone.
Mr. Michelin. So yeah, his priority meal probably will be Colombard.
Up next is 3 Night Mist. Ability is if you have a heart of 7 Cs, counter blast 1, call up to 2 from drop zone. They'll be retired by end of turn, but it's pretty okay because you know just call out hollow 2s.
Nag-rook Colombard, those people. It's their, it's probably the only 7-6 counter for Link Jokers, including the Hollow shenanigans.
Here I have a pair of
Tits!
Nitros, but look at that. Wait. Look, it's her. Like, look at that, it's her. Pair of tits. She's pretty okay if you have a lot of counter blasts to spend on her. Counter blast to call, when attacking counter blast to unflips herself, then call.
Unzips herself?
Unzips herself. Call up to 2 people on 2 different rows. So basically a front row and back row. Up is a set of the new GR
FC 16.
Yeah. Woohoo! Marie.
Covering her.
Marie. I run 4 of her because you know she's pretty.
She married.
What, really?
Why not?
No, married.
Oh wait, no.
She married.
She's pretty okay considering the costs. Later on, the first ride is pretty painful though, but she's kind of like counter blast 1 and flip 1 G zone, then call up to a number of cards depending on how many Maries are in the G zone. Plus you get to discard a card, which is
So just striding with her first, you basically subcall the card that you discarded.
yeah, just to fix the drop zone, you know.
But it's kinda nice for Mick.
Yeah,
Yet
kinda
again.
nice for Mick. Plus, additional effect is after subcall, you get the original power added to her. Now she's. Now for the last stride we have Lisa because Asu because you need first stride for Marid.
So you can use Marid 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times.
At max.
Here you go, like
Or 4
16
at max
strides. You can
Why no praise?
Yun, Cray.
look at that tray.
No G Guardian. Cray Elemental G Guardian.
No, Sea Breeze or because like I don't usually I just go for the first stride or whenever I'm second striding I prioritize on calling from the drop zone. Yeah, and plus the G Guardians are already pretty good since you get to mill. Depends on the mill though. Yeah, but that is what makes the deck
Dynamic.
chance dynamic because
RNG.
oh.
RNG sama.
So that's apparently all of it. And here you have my hand. It's pretty nice. Look at
I
that.
use it to draw cards.
It wins games.
It touches decks a lot.
Yeah,
More specifically mine.
That's lots of decks.
So that was Jacob Mangomok.
All the decks in the
It sounds like you're sucking on you're choking on.
Say his
So
last
that
name
was
3 times
Jacob
in the video.
Mangomok with his Granblue deck profile
7
focused
Cs.
on 7 Cs. Mr. Night Mist with featuring Night Roses.
Tits.
Even though he never uses the card.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the deck profile.